Well, this was one of the better performing stores, but safety does not appear to be in numbers. Unless you look at the windows, you would not realize that this one is closing. While traffic has slowed to a complete dead stop. Decided to cross over. Like I said, the only way you really know anything's going on is the signage on the door. So that being said, I'm gonna pick a corner and start this video.
Alright, this one was a bit hard to do because it was quite busy. It is also on the 21st of December, 2019. So it's Christmas shopping, it's quite busy. It doesn't really look like a lot has emptied out quite yet, but we'll see otherwise. As you can see, most of the clothing is now 50% off. Now we mute the audio and replace the music with royalty-free stuff so that we don't have copyright issues. It just looks a little haphazard, and like I said, we're trying not to get... We know we're going to get people in the shot, but we're trying to avoid it where we can. So here we are in the baby section. It's starting to look a little empty. Just a little bit. The store is slowly emptying out, but not at the rate you would think. Although that's starting to look a little more empty than normal. Again, we see some more strollers on the left. And while I'm doing this, I did mention in a bowling live stream that I was going to go and do the Sears at Pheasant Lane Mall on the 23rd. I decided to go against it after remembering the trouble I had going through here, plus the shopping gets busier, especially Christmas Eve, definitely not doing it then. Then we get to the men's section. Again, it's starting to look somewhat haphazard, but it's, there's still stuff. Yeah, the winter coats seem to be just thrown there. So as I said, we're trying not to get people, but we are ultimately going to get faces here and there, but we try not to. So you can see that typical of these going out of business sales, that things fall on the floor and no one bothers to pick them up. Just starts to look like it's been converted to a store-wide trash can, more or less. And again, like I said, we're weaving in and out to try and avoid the crowds as much as possible. And we are in the women's underwear section, which, like I said, was a way to try and avoid intermingling. And as you can see here, the shelves are getting empty. And I'm using a flip cam to do this, so it's a little more discreet. If you use a phone, it's pretty obvious. Look at the sporting section. It looks like a dump. Very few coolers over there. All that stuff's just thrown on the floor and they call it good. This seems to be a thing with K-marts, like the one in Fitchburg. Not too many coolers there. A standalone bike over there. Empty shelves over there. And some sporting equipment. Some very empty shelves. As I was saying, I'm using a flip cam, so it doesn't exactly have the best wide angles. Everything's a little zoomed in looking, so got to do a lot of panning to get everything in. More empty shelves, so we're starting to see the ill effects of this store closing. Plenty of bikes on the lower level. The middle and upper levels are completely empty. Here we got some in the boxes still. 30% off, now $115.49. And for those of you that are not familiar with these kind of going out of business sales, the liquidators actually raise the prices, then lower them to make you think you're getting a deal. Once you get to about 40%, then you start to save a little bit of money. And then we come to the furniture department. Some furniture thrown around, some desks placed here and there. Nice big empty section, although that's mostly the way that it was set up rather than empty space. Then big empty spaces on that shelf. And speaking of shelves, starting to get a little bare on this end as well. And here's that nook that we've seen before from this store, and they're now selling it for a mere $180. Again, looking at more of the empty areas and the shelves yet again from a further vantage point, because like I said, the flip cam is kind of a slightly zoomed in look. $108 for that sofa. Down the aisle we go. Again, stuff thrown around. Now, there were kids in this aisle, so I definitely was trying not to go anywhere near them and keeping the camera from being seen so that, you know, we don't try and spook anyone out. Sometimes when we strafe the aisles like that, it's to be sure that everything is clear before we actually aim the camera in. And like there, you're gonna get people in the shot. It's just a matter of those that are right there. After all, unless it's clearly posted, which it wasn't, any place public or privately owned where the public is invited, your right to privacy is not guaranteed, but we try. Here's some housewares. Some of these departments, it's a little hard to tell because they've moved things around, or they've stopped doing certain things and just moved other departments into different areas. Someone else was coming, so we moved. We didn't really get a good look at the grocery section, but there's the dish detergent, bleach, and similar stuff. Still quite a bit. Then we go into other things. We got the Kenmore section. This kind of looks like the Fitchburg one in the electronics department. It is not mattresses like the usual K-mart thing. We got some Kenmore appliances, some grills, mostly grills, and totes in the music and video section, back when that was a thing, and vacuum cleaners, a couple of those. Again, some empty shelves. We're backtracking slightly and then heading the other way. At least this one had more appliances. The Fitchburg one had 3 or 4, and that was it. Some cleaning products there. Just randomly strewn about stuff there. Tiny toddler chairs on the right where the TVs were when we last were here. And a short look at movies and DVDs. Some electronic gadgets and USB cables. Again, electronics, yet little chairs. Getting into some of the toys now. Kind of the younger set, and then, here we go, the dolls and what have not. Again, that was a bit tricky to do, so we didn't get to see much of the toys. They seem to be scattered in this general area. And the toy department itself, we didn't get too much because, like I said, we're trying to avoid getting children on camera and trying to make people not realize that we're doing anything nefarious. So again, we're looking at some more empty shelves, especially over here in this area. Some stuff thrown on the floor and forgotten. Got office supplies here, what's left of them. More over there. And then we see the lone lawnmower. This is the quote-unquote craftsman area. Yard machines. As you can see, there's not a lot here. few toilet seats still around, and a very big empty section of wall here with a few rakes on there. And more Kenmore appliances. Now, over here, what I did not realize is we're walking into an area that we're not supposed to be in. That was recognized, as you can see there, we see the tape. That's recognized by the fact that we go over here and we can see that the section is walled off. However, that caution tape was not visible, and we can show you that right now. It's supposed to be stretching across, and it wasn't, and I didn't see it, so we wound up in an area we weren't supposed to be in. No big deal. Some air conditioners. Again, we're getting into close quarters where there's other people, so it's, again, going to be very hard to get decent footage, as once again we are back into the craftsman area, heading into the actual toy department. Turning around, we head to the lawn and garden, but before that we look into the cordoned off area yet again, and this is completely closed off now. We were able to go inside the last time we were here. Wasn't much in there, but it was relatively decently stocked. And again, we got a whole mass of empty shelves yet again. So we're not far off from seeing larger areas being cordoned off. This is again the actual toy department. They've just taken a lot of the toys and moved them down. And a random purse left behind. Just random things thrown around. We got some board games over here. And again, trying to keep the camera at an angle where we're not trying to get any kids. Again, some quick left and right movement so we don't get anyone clearly on camera. And some groceries there. We don't get to do too much looking at that. And got Christmas decorations here. Up ahead was the shipping receiving. We've been in there before. You're not missing much of anything, but there were a couple of people that have pointed out that I was recording video and I was making them uncomfortable. So we skipped it. You're not going to miss anything. It was simply just more or less Christmas stuff. Pretty much full, so again, you're not really missing anything. So right now, for the most part, we're just heading our way out the door, since now we've been caught, but also trying to get more views of things that are emptying out, like the health and beauty area. And we get a little bit of a look at the grocery area. Like I said, it was getting a bit crowded, and it was just getting harder to keep on going. There's the refrigerated products. I must have not thought I got the sign because I went and looked at it again. So we got some empty spots there. And now once again we're sort of heading our way back out the door. Of course, once we go through another set of side aisles, but that's the general thing, is we're heading towards the exit. The cosmetics and hair care area is starting to look a little thin, especially the backlit glass there. Definitely shows that there's a lot of stuff missing. The birthday / general cards and gift wrap section looks a little... It still looks somewhat stocked. It's just not emptying out all that much in spite of all the people that are here. And speaking of, their lines are ridiculously long. It literally spans half the store. Literally from where we entered, which is almost at one corner of the store, all the way back to the grocery aisle. And there's the line. And I'm pointing, it's going like a good 100 feet or so. At this point, we called it good, and we start heading out the door, and while we're doing that, we get to hear the Salvation Army playing some music.
Alright, we skipped a section, the former layaway space or shipping receiving, because people noticed what I was doing and weren't comfortable, even though it's a public place, sort of. It's private, but public invited. So your right to privacy is null and void, unless there's something clearly posted, which there isn't. So, here we are in Billerica. This K-mart was actually doing okay when I was here. I mean, it wasn't great. It was doing okay. So, yeah, let's just walk through. This one's close to work, not close to where I live, so I'm not sure when I'll get another video. The rest of the mall is doing well, especially since there's a market basket way over there, which most of the traffic probably is for. And the pan was so I didn't get a lady coming directly at us. So that's this adventure. I'm going to probably try and come back January and February and see what it's like. No guarantees. George F551 saying, hope you enjoyed and have a good one.